Hello and welcome to Nowhere. My name is Trish and I am the creator behind Nowhere Novelties. I love a plaid tumbler with just some glitter, double-sided tape, and pinstriping. If you're ready, let's strap in and shoot for the stars. This cup is a 30-ounce skinny from Maker Flow Crafts, and I have it base painted just like a light tan color. And the very first step is to apply gold all over. I'm using Saints and Sinners from Mr. Nola's glitter. This has a lot of like beautiful dimension to it. I love this gold. I did epoxy over this glitter 2 times because I wanted a really smooth base before applying the double-sided stripes. So I knew I wanted 3 vertical stripes and 2 horizontal stripes. So I have some like just basic tape laid down with the dimensions of my cup, both height and width or circumference. And I kind of pre-planned out how much space between the stripes, how big the stripes I wanted them to be. So I knew the stripes were going to be 1.5 inches, and then the space between the stripes were 2 inches. The circumference of the cup is about 10.25 inches. So there is one of the like spaces in between is a little bit less, but that's okay. You can barely tell. And then down the cup, I needed 2 inches at the top and the bottom, and then my 1.5 inch stripe. And then I think the middle like gap between the 2 horizontal stripes ended up being like 2.25 inches because the height of the cup is 9.5. So that's just how my math ended up working out to make this all work out. So now I'm getting out my double-sided sticky sheet and some white vinyl because I am going to be applying white glitter. So I'm going to back the cat scratch tape or the double-sided sticky sheet with white vinyl. This will make it so that I don't have to like paint the cup in any way. The glitter application will be basically on the white vinyl over the sticky sheets. This is the same process that I do with my burst tumblers. Typically, I put my burst tumblers on white vinyl, and it ends up making everything so easy. So now I'm gonna go through and cut out my 1.5 inch strips. So because I wanted 3 vertical stripes and 2 horizontal stripes, I needed 5 strips total. Now in hindsight, I realize I probably could have managed putting the white stripes on with the gold glitter. So like all of the glitter step could have been done in like one shot. And then I could have gone into epoxying and then pinstriping. But this is just the easiest way to do it because I knew I was going to be using the double-sided sticky tape. So now I am taking that masking tape with my measurements and I'm applying that directly to the cup. That way I can line my double-sided strips right here, right? I know my measurements are valid on these pieces of tape. So I was able to just take off the first little backing sheet, make sure everything lines up. And this honestly worked out perfectly. Once I had the start of each of the strips, I then just pushed off the backing paper and was able to line up my stripes and cut off the excess where the seam met. So this really ended up being like the perfect way to get all of my spacing right. And of course, once both of the horizontal stripes were on, I was able to do basically the same thing, a little bit different with the vertical stripes. So I took that piece of masking tape that I had my measurements already lined out, lined it up with the top rim of the cup, okay? And then what I ended up doing is taking my X-Acto knife and cutting out the space where like the stripe was supposed to go. So this little section right here, that's my stripe. So I laid that, lined it up all the way down the cup. I did have like the very top portion attached so that I could then cut the portions of the horizontal stripes. I didn't want them to like actually overlap because it was going to cause like a bulkiness that like the epoxy was going to have to ultimately I was going to have to compensate with like extra layers of epoxy. So I cut off the like 1.5 inch piece that the stripes were going to overlap, and then just pushed off my backing paper and laid down my vertical stripes in this fashion. And of course, at the very bottom edge of the cup, I did cut the strip, the excess off to create a nice like sharp line at the bottom. I didn't want the stripes to go down onto the bottom of the cup. I didn't know how I was gonna like gather or like connect all of the pinstriping as well as the white stripes. So I just figured just cutting it off and leaving the bottom just gold was going to keep it nice and crisp looking. And I do like the way that it looks in terms of like the bottom not having any kind of design on it. With all of the double-sided sticky stripes applied, I was ready to glitter like I normally would a burst template by taking off the top layer, the like coverage paper, if you want to call it, and revealing the double-sided sticky tape. I'm using Frosty from Glitter Heart Company. And you're literally just gonna apply glitter to the sticky part of the strips. To get maximum coverage, I like to burnish down the glitter with my finger, like rub it onto the sticky adhesive, and that's it. This is like the easiest part of the tutorial because you're really just applying glitter like you would over a burst template. Now, I'm pretty sure I managed to get away with just a single coat of epoxy over these stripes, and I had a nice smooth surface, and I was able to go right into pinstriping. And for pinstripes, I knew that I wanted to line the white with black. So I have my trusty whiteboard line tape. I will have this linked obviously in the description box. It's so much better than like nail tape or anything. It's so like, this is literally what you use to line a whiteboard, like, or a chalkboard. So it's perfect. It comes in big rolls and it's super cheap. And then the in between, like over the gold, I guess, not over the white stripes, I am adding this like beautiful dark red. This is an Oracal 651 vinyl that came in a pack, and I'll also have that linked in the description box. It's a beautiful dark red. I didn't want the stripes to be bright red because like any example of this type of plaid I found wasn't like a super bright like fire engine red. It was more of like a berry color. So this vinyl that I had in my stash was perfect. So each white strip got 3 black pinstripes, one on each of the outer edges, and then a single stripe down the center to create almost like a grid pattern where they all intersected. The red stripes you need a lot less of. I think I made like 7 or 8 strips for them, cut out on my Cricut. Those ones are going to go vertically on like the gold section just in the center, but then it's also going to go horizontally in the center of each of the gaps between the horizontal white stripes, if that makes sense. And that's it for this beautiful plaid cup design. Way different than like your typical buffalo check. I think this one's beautiful and very like classic and timeless. Can be used year round. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll see y'all real soon. Bye now.